The House of Representatives is in a frenzy over a possible looming shutdown, but that's not all. It's also in a frenzy over illegal immigration theatrics yesterday. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of unfreezing some foreign aid, and President Trump warned Hamas that this is their last chance to release the hostages. I'm Tony Kinnett from the Daily Signal's Tony Kinnett Cast, syndicated nationally at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Thursday, March 6th, 2025. This is the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Another day, another budget federal shutdown shenanigan process. The government has until March 14th to get its act together, and Speaker Johnson is between, in this particular instance, a rock and a hard place. The Republicans have a very narrow majority in the House, just a couple of seats, and that's a problem because not all Republicans want the same things in this upcoming continuing resolution or financial measure. Many Republicans who are more fiscally conservative want there to be drastic cuts to some of the federal budget spending. Whereas on the Democrats' side, in order to pass Mike Johnson's continuing resolution, which cleanly kicks the can down the road until September, Democrats want Republicans to put measures into the bill that restrict the executive branch of government from fulfilling the role of the executive branch of the government, like interfering with the hiring and firing of federal workers or exercising a little caution over how certain funds are allocated in the unmitigated bureaucracy of the federal government. This is something that Speaker Johnson spoke on yesterday.
Chairman Tom Cole addressed the House Republicans this morning on the latest developments about how we may be getting close to a number on that. The problem is the Democrats have added something new and different that's never been part of this before. They are trying to add to the appropriations bill a demand that they want us to somehow limit the ability of the executive branch to do its job. They want to tie the hands of the president on what he is able to do with the expenditures in the executive branch. That's never been done before. House Republicans, as egregious as the actions were of the previous president, Joe Biden, as unconstitutional and outrageous as they were, we never proposed using the appropriations process to tie the president's hands. It'd be, I think, a gross separation of powers violation and a terrible precedent for Congress to engage in. So that's a non-starter for us, and the Democrats know that. And so it looks like they're in a posture right now that they're making individual appropriations bills almost impossible. We'll find out soon. Stay tuned. There's more discussion today to be had. But we are nearing, obviously, the March 14th deadline. And I'm really hopeful that they'll back off of those outrageous demands because it's unprecedented and I think probably unconstitutional, and it's not anything we'll be a part of. Thank you. Thank you.
President Trump has now weighed in on the budget reconciliation process, issuing a statement, "Government funding runs out next week and Democrats are threatening to shut down the government. But I am working with the great House Republicans on a continuing resolution to fund the government until September to give us some needed time to work on our agenda. Conservatives will love this bill because it sets us up to cut taxes and spending and reconciliation, all while effectively freezing spending this year and allowing us to continue our work to make America great again. Very important. Let's get this bill done." Those weren't the only fireworks in the House of Representatives yesterday. The House Oversight Committee hosted Democrat mayors from sanctuary cities to testify about some of their measures and policies regarding working with or working against federal law enforcement on illegal immigration law. Mayor Wu of Boston was particularly passionate, defending the quote-unquote rights of illegal immigrants to stay in Boston, even name-dropping President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan.
Let's talk about Tom Homan. Shame on him for lying about my city, for having the nerve to insult our police commissioner who has overseen the safest Boston's been in anyone's lifetime. Bring him here under oath, and let's ask him some questions. I am here to make sure that the city of Boston is safe. Others may want to bring hell. We are here to bring peace to cities everywhere.
Never one to be a shrinking violet, Tom Homan responded later in the day.
Look, I was on an airplane today. I didn't see that hearing, but thank you for playing that because now I'm going to sleep like a baby. Because if I can get to live in her mind rent-free every day, that's kind of cool. I love my job. I work for the greatest president in my lifetime. We're making America safe again. President Trump promised American people we're going to shut down illegal alien crime in this country. That's exactly what we're doing. Mayor Wu should be standing side by side with me. Who does not want to bring hell to an illegal alien that raped a child? Not one, many of them. I stopped counting at 9.
Representative James Comer and Representative Ayanna Pressley of the Progressive Squad got into a bit of a tussle over lecturing and entering documents and other shenanigans regarding the Roberts Rules of Order. Check it out.
Chair recognizes
Mr. Chairman, I have unanimous consent
Subramaniam.
request. Mr. Chairman, I have unanimous consent request.
Proceed.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this article, and I'll do this as a survivor of sexual violence myself. This is from Courts, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born
Without objection, so ordered. We've put it in the record.
I haven't entered it.
You have what?
Mr. Chair, can I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are, what they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC is going to end. We're not going to put up with it.
This is my procedural right as a member of this committee
you can go,
enter documents
you can go with
into the
Mr.
record.
Frost and Mr.
I'm
Green.
reclaiming my time.
That's what you want. No. Ms. Presley, I have been very accommodating to you. Mr. Subramaniam,
and I take particular umbrage as a survivor of sexual violence. I will enter into the record. This is my right. Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Subramaniam.
Mr. Chair.
No, you know the process of unanimous consent. You are not recognized.
I have several articles to enter into the record.
Mr. Subramaniam, if you don't go, we're going to recognize Mr. Timmons.
The Supreme Court of the United States has issued a rather controversial opinion, as if any of their opinions these days weren't controversial, 5-4, in favor of a district court ordering the Trump administration to unfreeze certain USAID funds. Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined the liberal justices in arguing that the Trump administration had to freeze $2 billion of the around $24 billion in question for services already rendered. Now, of note, Justice Alito's dissent was particularly spicy, arguing that contracts authorized, being the measure of whether or not the Trump administration needed to fulfill certain USAID commitments, would be exclusive statutory jurisdiction of the Court of Federal Claims, not just any district court. By any district court being allowed to throw out injunctions and freezes and unfreezes and thawings and other legal measures at whim to cripple or to maim the federal government, this would greatly hamper the President of the United States from carrying out his constitutionally allotted and ordered duties. By the way, this is not over for the Trump administration on this particular issue because there is a lot of prosecutorial discretion, as it were, in how the United States, through the executive office of the president, determines whether or not certain contracts are met. The State Department is infamous for deciding whether certain contracts and negotiations with other countries and projects are indeed fulfilled. President Donald Trump has issued a final warning to Hamas, telling them that this is their last chance to release hostages. Shalom Hamas, the president began in a statement, means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. I have just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision. Release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. And then the president signed his full name, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. The president had issued a prior warning to Gaza that if they did not release all of the hostages along the ceasefire terms by a certain day, which would be a Saturday a couple of weeks ago, then the Israeli government would be unleashed to prosecute the war to Israel's understanding of objective completion. Israel has begun military efforts to finish the operations in Gaza once and for all. It has cut off certain kinds of aid to the region, given that the Hamas terrorist organization were using these resources not to feed, clothe, house, and satisfy the needs of those in the region, but to continue to arm their terror network and not release hostages and the bodies of those whom they'd captured. Before you leave, head down to the description and click the link to make sure you're subscribed to the Tony Kinnett Cast. And join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we take a closer look at the next month of the Trump administration, tariffs, and the markets here at home and abroad. I'm Tony Kinnett, and this has been the Daily Signal's Top News in 10. Take care.